Okay, so guys, in this video, I'm going to take you through quickly as to why you're struggling to scale beyond $1,000 a day and scale to 10K a day with your Shopify store. And again, these are not the things that you think off the bat, but these are more so things that we have seen time and again in our stores and our client stores as the reasons why you are unable to scale beyond $1,000 a day in revenue. And $1,000 a day in revenue is like around maybe $200, $300 a day in profit with a 20-30% margin. And that's if you're lucky in a really good region and your product's really good, right? So guys, I'm trying to really help you guys here, and I've listed down a couple of reasons as to why usually stores are unable to scale profitably and what are the common reasons that we have seen throughout the years being in e-commerce as to why they're unable to do that, right? And I've also listed out solutions so that you guys can really use this and run with it to make 10K a day, right, with your Shopify store. So without any further ado, let's get into it, right? So guys, firstly, understand that one of the major issues that you're going to run in when you're doing organic sales and you're trying to run multiple TikTok accounts, multiple YouTube accounts, YouTube Shorts accounts, or Instagram accounts, and you're trying to send traffic to your website through organic only, what ends up happening really is your store is going to be super inconsistent, right? So obviously the organic algorithm is going to change on a day-to-day or a week-by-week basis. So let's say you have a really good product and you found a unique mechanism or a unique style in which you're marketing it. Let's say you're even posting like the same video 50 times a day. I've seen those pages, right? But then for some reason, some of your competitors just mass report the page and your account is gone, and overnight you see no sales after that, right? You found a winning creative, you found a winning product, but your competitor just comes in and bans your page and you're screwed, right? So you don't really have a real business at that point, right? You might do like 5K in a day and then no sales for 5 days, so you're just averaging 1K a day, right? Or at the same time, you might have made a super good amounts of money when you're doing organic, but then because the algorithm changes so quickly, you are unable to scale sustainably, right? And on a week by week, on a day by day basis, right? This is usually when we would always recommend clients to move into a more profitable, stable ad account setup so that you have your ads running 24/7, and preferably you work with some kind of solution. So we obviously provide the solution. You can feel free DM me on Instagram. I can help you up and set you up with this. But the main issue that we see is even clients, when they get onboarded with the ad account setups, they need to have the right account structures and the right number of pixels and the right amount of backups for anything that goes wrong on the back end. So you need a complete solution, not just something where you're just going to click two buttons and it's done for you. No, because it's a day by day basis. It's an hourly thing that you need to take care of, especially when you're scaling to, let's say, 2 to 3K a day in ad spend, right? So that's usually a 3x ROAS, 4x ROAS will get you a 10K a day in revenue, right? So this is something that you really need to think about, right? Next is usually things that go around with suppliers, right? So I actually heard a story from my friend, and he told me like back in the day, he was running a store and he was scaling super quickly, right? So they were doing like a 12 to 13x ROAS on their ads. And this was back in like 2017-18 when everything was easy on e-com, right? So what ended up happening was they ordered like the initial batch of 1000 pieces and they sold out at a 13x ROAS, right? So they already figured out their market, their product, their angle, everything, right? But then they reordered like 3000 pieces in the next batch, and the grade quality of the product came from, like, it was the best quality on the first batch at 1000 pieces, came in at grade 5 quality, right? And when they ordered a 3000 batch, it came in grade 1 quality, right? So obviously the quality grades vary a lot in China, right? And 99% of everyone who does dropshipping and e-commerce imports products or creates some kind of product of their store in China, right? So you need to be very careful with your suppliers and the quality of suppliers that you work with. So this is something that again you need to really sort out. Again, so we can obviously help you find good suppliers. We have been working with bunch of suppliers over the years. So obviously if that's something that you need, we can set that up for you, right? Second thing again is chargebacks, refunds, and customer support. So obviously if you're selling bad quality products, you're going to have customers complaining. You're going to need to then set up like a whole customer support team to deal with the message requests and the customers that are coming in on a day by day basis, right? These are again things you need to think about, right? Guys, understand this, right? So when you're scaling and when you're growing, if you're doing 10K a day, imagine the kinds of problems that are going to come to you. So let's say you're doing 10K a day, you're selling a $35 product, approx $35-40 product. That's roughly going to be easily around 300 customers a day, right? So 300 into 35, that's around 9,000, 10,000 a day. So 300 customers a day, if you divide that by 24 hours, it's never equal throughout every hour of the day, but that's like 10 to 15 customers an hour, right? And that if you divide that per hour, that's like one customer every 3 to 4 minutes throughout the day, right? So if you don't have a rock solid customer support team, then obviously you're going to have big problems when you're scaling, right? You'll not have the right amount of support for your customers. Everyone's going to charge back. They're going to find disputes because no one's replying to their messages, and you have very big problems very quickly, right? So this is something again you need to sort out, right, when you're scaling, right? Next is actually you're unaware about your margins, right? So the biggest issue I've seen with clients when they come to us, we open up their stores, we look at everything that they're doing, but we realize that they're just simply not knowing their margins, right? So they're spending, let's say, 3K a day on ads, they're making back 6K, but their break even is like 2.5x. So their break even is like much higher than 6K in revenue, but they're making 6K and they don't even know it. They think they're just making a profit, right? So break even means you're obviously taking into account your product costs, your shipping costs, your advertising costs, and any miscellaneous costs for your team, all other expenses, right, put together. So you need to understand that if you don't know your margins, you'll never be able to scale, right? Which is why we usually use a kind of table that looks like this. So it's like an Excel sheet that we export from clients' dashboards on a day by day basis. So this really helps to figure out what's working, what's not, what are the metrics that we are looking at on a day by day basis. So this is just the export data from Facebook backend, but what it really looks like on the front end would look something like this, right? So we look at all the data on a day by day basis on the total spend, the total clicks we received, the sales we received, what's the AOV, what's the CPC, what's the ROAS, and everything. And that just gives us a clear understanding as to where we are standing with the business, right? So over here, we have already set out the ROAS to be at break even. So 100% means we are at break even, right? If we are way above 100%, that means everything above 100% has been a profit for us. So these days we are in a loss. These days we are all in the green. This day 2% in loss. So we know exactly what's going on in our business and what mistakes are we making, which is leading us to not be profitable, right? So again, these are things you need to know at the back of your hand when you're scaling your store. If you don't know the right CPCs, if you don't know the right advertising costs you need to pay your CPA, then obviously you'll never be profitable when you're scaling, right? So again, guys, these are things you need to be aware of, right? And if you're not, then it's going to be impossible to scale, right? That's just the hard truth of it, right? Yeah. So next up would be this, right? So next up is yes. So next up is this, right? So usually when you're scaling, if you're selling a certain product and it doesn't have a big enough market, what ends up happening is let's say you scale your ads, but your market is not available to buy that product, right? Let's say there are only 10 customers in your whole country where you're selling a product who can buy your product or who have the problem to buy your product, right? Then obviously you'll only have 10 customers, right? The market ceiling is 10 customers. So you cannot really sell more than 10 customers, right? But if you broaden your marketing message, if you broaden it, like let's say you're targeting, I don't know, fitness enthusiasts, and you're selling them a skipping rope in, let's say, USA, right? The USA market. Now, if let's say there are only 1,000 fitness enthusiasts who are interested in buying a skipping rope in US, you'll only have 1,000 customers, right? But let's say you're not only targeting fitness enthusiasts, you're targeting a more broader spectrum of people. So let's say you're targeting people even who want to have a more active life, right? So you're going into a more broader market. Then obviously it's going to take some time to warm them up as well into your marketing message, but it just expands your whole market to go from 1,000 customers to 10,000 customers, right? And that's really, really useful when you're scaling, right? So again, you need to have the right funnel, the right marketing message, and the right addressable market, the total addressable market, in order for this to be possible for your store, right? So this is again a very common issue, and this is very easily solved with a broader marketing message, right? Next up is if you're running ads, right? So another time when you're running ads is you're simply unable to make profit on your creatives, right? So let's say you're actually running ads, and as you're running ads, what ends up happening is you cannot deal with the high CPM. So your CPMs obviously are rising on your US audiences like forever, right? Year on year, week by week, month on month, you'll always see a rise in your CPMs, right? And again, it's two primary reasons why this happens. It's just major economic reasons. Obviously, the more spending power people have, the more VC funding and the more VC money that comes into e-commerce, you're going to see more and more newer brands come in the market with VC money, and they just outbid a brand that is looking to make profit in the next 7 days, because VCs can hold off profit for like 5 to 7 years, right? So these are again things you need to think about. And again, you'll usually be facing high CPMs outside of the broader economic reasons because your creatives are simply bad, right? Even if there are no external reasons as to why your CPMs are rising, leave those, right? Even if you just focus on your brand, it's usually your creatives, right? If you cannot scale your creatives, if you cannot make a good variety of creatives, and again, we would recommend easily 40 to 50 creatives a week for testing, right? And again, guys, like if you're not able to really match that level of testing, then it's going to be impossible for you to ever scale, right? Because without the right creatives and without the right presentation for your creatives, it's never going to scale into profit, right? Especially as you, the business owner, you're looking to make profit in the next 7 days from your ads, not the next 5 years, right? You cannot hold off for 5 years and then sell the company for 50 million to make a profit, right? We're not in the business for that, right? So understand that, right? If you wanna just make a profit in the next 7 days, make better creatives, and I recommend 40 to 50 creatives a week bare minimum. That could be image ads, that could be meme ads, that could be literally videos, that could be just testing different hooks on your creatives. So these are all the things that you need to do. Again, hooks could be text hooks, visual hooks. I've made videos on my channel, please check it out, guys. I've literally explained in depth as to how to make better creatives, because that's the only thing that's in your control when you're scaling with ads, right? And the only way to protect yourself is to test more. That's it. That's the hard truth. Do it if you want to win, right? Next up is ad accounts getting shut down, right? So usually I've seen this more in the jewelry niche, in the skincare niche, where ad accounts get shut down pretty regularly, right? The reasons being, in these niches, especially in the skincare niche or pretty much any niche, wherever you're making crazy claims or you're having extreme visuals on the screen of before after examples, even teeth whitening products, even health related products, and skincare products as well. If you're showing an extreme example of the efficacy and the efficiency of your product in your ads, then obviously you're gonna get banned, right, on Facebook. And again, it's sort of like a mini war that you have to do with Facebook, because obviously you now have winning ads, you now have a winning product and an ad, but the only reason that you cannot scale is because your ad accounts keep getting shut down. You have a lot of crazy claims and it's just impossible for you to scale, right? Every time you scale, you get shut down on your ad accounts and it's just impossible, right? So understand, guys, the reasonable solution I can give you is use more stable ad accounts that give you more stable CPM. So our ad accounts usually that we help clients with is usually getting us a $12 to $13 CPM on a US audience, right? Let alone any other audience in the world, right? Couple of European countries are sub $1 CPMs, right? So understand, guys, like if you wanna have a better reputation with the Facebook algorithm, then you need to work with ad accounts and agencies that can actually help you and provide that solution to you, right? And that only comes with better ad accounts and more stable ad accounts, and probably even internal reps in Facebook who can help you with that, right? And again, we have these solutions. You can always DM me on Instagram. I can help you and set you up with this, right? No worries. And yeah, guys, lastly, the last reason actually is the reason why you cannot scale beyond 10K, right? 10K in revenue per day is because of one last thing, right? It's a very common issue again. Not a lot of people, I mean, the most unsuccessful brands don't even know this and they'll never experience this because it's a high quality problem to have where your funds get blocked by payment processors, right? So everyone knows that feeling. We all know that feeling where you find a winning product, you find a winning creative, you have the perfect landing page and offer, and every couple of hours on your ad accounts, you scale. And you scale to a point where you start going from $1,000 a day in revenue all the way to 20K a day in revenue very quickly. And probably within the week, when you're at 80, 90K stuck in your processor waiting for a payout, your processor gets banned, they think you're doing something fishy on the back end, and you can just never get out that money, right? So we have had clients come to us where they've had their money stuck for months. They come to us and we help them get it out in a week or 2 weeks, things like that, right? So if that's your situation, again, feel free to DM me on Instagram and we can see what we can do. Not every time it's going to be a case where we can help you, but it's always good to get in touch and see if we could potentially help you, right? So again, that's one thing. And second thing is always have backup processors. So backup processors where you can diversify your revenue coming into your business so that you're never held down by revenue, because biggest issue in e-commerce is always cash flow, right? The day you spend on ads is not the day you always make back a return, because many a times for more profitable e-com stores who are super big, like 7-8 figures, they usually are profitable on the LTV. So they may sometimes just break even on the first sale, but they make most of their profits on the back end on rebuilds and things like that. So guys, these are things you only know when you've been in the business for like super long and you've helped a bunch of stores scale on ads, right? So yeah, guys, that's pretty much that. And yeah, that's pretty much the video, guys. So super pumped that you guys have stayed so far in the video, and I'll see you guys next time.